Hello, welcome to this new video. My name is Damien Rohrbach. Today we're going to work with Light Tracer Render. Very interesting rendering system. Intuitive 3D rendering tools. Light Tracer is a super easy and user-friendly 3D rendering and animation software. And it's true. I've tested the software and it's really nice to work with. So we're going to make an example. And there's nothing better than an example, and we're going to work on the render of this ring. So obviously you can bring your files from any software because Light Tracer is compatible with, well, all the main file formats, as you can see here. And we just have to drag and drop the file. Obviously you can use the menus and all that. So my scene has a floor and a ring. So that's from Blender, by example. We just go to File, Export, and to Object. Something obviously important is that the ring has a material and the gemstone have another material, because as you know, by example, the object file format does separate the object by material when you want to, but that's the default export advantage of the object format compared to the STL format that doesn't export materials. STL is more famous for 3D printing. Object is more famous for interoperability between softwares. So, thanks to materials, at least dividing the meshes with their materials. So we take that, and that. We go to File, Export, Object. So here, this is my file. Beware that if you have many other objects in the scene that you don't want to get exported, well, limit to selection only and export the object. And my file has 2 million triangles, so I end up with an object file that is 180 megabytes. It's already pretty high, but interesting. Now we're going to go to Light Tracer. Let's drag and drop this here. Replace the scene. Y is up. That's correct for almost all the files. You can change the orientation if you want to. And it's interesting that a 180 megabytes object file gets imported really fast. And here we are. Okay, so that's importing my object file from another 3D software into Light Tracer. So the concept of Light Tracer is really friendly. We won't be working with nodes and weird setups. So it's very enjoyable to use the software, and that's why I wanted to show you the software with obviously a jewelry example, because that's mostly what we do on my channel. And well, let's start with the library of materials. So we already have here a nice setup of materials. With the mouse you can rotate and move the view very easily. That's very nice. It's really quick. And well, it's basically drag and drop. So I want, let's say, platinum here. Drag and drop. And I won't be changing the floor, but I want the diamond material here. And here we go. So the first thing we want to check is that the number of bounces for the render for jewelry, let's bring that the highest, it's better. What we can notice right away is that we do have dispersion in the gemstone. So that's one of the first point that we like. And what we're going to see, and that's like say, I really like the software because we mainly have all the things we need to make really quick and high quality renders in a very short time. Now, Light Tracer is not free. There's a free trial, but it works with Windows and Mac OS, which is really nice also because there's not that many softwares that work on Mac in the 3D field. So that's a very nice solution. And there's something also important. You can download, well, first the prices, they're very correct. Honestly, they know the market. You can tell that they know the market. The price is very correct. You can rent it monthly, yearly, or buy a perpetual license, which is depending on the usage you want to have with the software. But that's really nice. Also, the prices are really affordable. It works with your GPU. They have some gallery here with some nice things. And something very interesting, it works also from the web. So you can run in your browser. It's going to load. It needs to compile the shaders. It takes a couple of minutes, like, well, all 3D softwares, by the way. When you first render something in almost any software, it has to compile the shaders. Most software are going to tell you that it's compiling the shader. And here we are in Firefox here, and we can also work in any web browser compatible. We can add our models there, and that allows you to work on almost any device. That's pretty nice. Standalone version here. I already dragged and dropped the diamond material and platinum material. So we can see here that we have the HDRI that's making the light. Lights are mainly from the HDRI, but you can also use mesh emitters, which is also nice. Like I already said, that's a more modern concept. In many software, like in Octane, also Octane only works with mesh emitters, lights. So we can get used to that because it's mainly the standard now in many softwares. Obviously, HDRI lighting been around for, well, more than a decade now, easily. So it's not new anymore. And mesh emitters, well, they're not that new also, but it's more widespread now. So we can change the map. Here we have some options, but we can load any map we want. You can use any file. I'll come back to that later. So here we can change the light. Nice also that we can change the power of the light, less, more light, and we can rotate. Let's go back a bit. And we can rotate the file. So that's very nice because we have some control on the HDRI, and actually rotating the HDRI may change drastically the look of the render. And the simple feature is right here, and that's what we want. Okay, now materials. So let's say the floor, we can work on the materials. I like bringing a roughness map. Let's go and let's find something that works here. Okay, so I'm going to use this like a stone looking roughness map. It looks very pixelated, but that's because we just have one iteration of the map. Let's put something like 10, and we can see that it's working very nicely. So that's the concept. Simple and efficient, and I really like that. Okay, on the metal, maybe I want to add base normal here. So it's better to use a normal map like here. This is obviously too strong for this design, but I can bring it lower here. And okay, that's a bit better. And I can also put more repetition of the file. Let's say 5 maybe. And we're going to bring the roughness to 0 here to keep this very metallic. Okay, now, so the concern you may have now is that we have bloom and we have too much bloom. Many people like the bloom effect, many other people don't like it at all. The bloom effect is nice, but don't abuse it. So that's why we can actually tweak that. So we are here to rendering bloom, and we can change the threshold. If we put it higher, well, bloom is gone because nothing is reaching the threshold. And that's nice because obviously we can remove the bloom, which tends to produce some fake looking renders, but it's nice to have that option here. We can just simply remove the bloom effect, and we can also make it smoother, which is also a bit bigger, like here, okay, or a bit sharper. But well, let's keep some bloom here. So now something important. The render, the size of the render actually is the entire window. Okay, not just, that's the interface. We can remove the interface. And this is starting to look pretty good, or even really good. All right, so fast and efficient, easy, fast and efficient. We can keep working on some details here and there, but before that, let's go have a look at the view options of the camera. So generally in the jewelry business, we want the depth of field, and there it is, depth of field. Just make, let's say, bring the f-stop to 1, so we have a strong depth of field. Here, because I have the signature inside the ring, I'll be using something that still allows me to read the brand inside the ring, maybe 3.5, okay. And to center it, just click here and click where you want the focus to be. I want it there, and we're done. So very easy to set up the depth of field. And now animations. Turntable, swing. Just hit play, and here we go. 8 seconds. The amount of rotation, maybe you just want 90 degrees, maybe you want to go the other way around. That's amazing, because people who don't have that much knowledge of keyframes, shape keys and all that can create really nice looking animation very easily. So obviously that's very interesting for many of you. Obviously we can't make that many complexity in the animation, but like we said at the beginning, if you want something simple, quick and efficient, Light Tracer is here for you. So the swing animation makes a nice swing movement, back and forth, forth and back. And you can change the center. That's also very nice. Here you can move to make a render of a specific frame, which is very interesting too. And you can change the center of the animation. Okay, you can adapt to what you need. And for product rendering and the quick animation for the client. So from there, you can save it as a VP9 video, which is also a new format, or save as an image sequence, like I did actually yesterday for a ring. And you can save as PNG to then make, Well, obviously, then if you save as an image sequence, you will have to enter with a video editing software, and you're going to get into more complex work, which is quite normal for an animation. But like I was saying, generally with Light Tracer, that's not the first goal. The first goal is a very good looking render in a matter of seconds. Okay, so, but here I still don't like, let's say, the light. So let's go change the map. I'm going to load another map. I think this one might look good. Okay, and also if you want to change the resolution, that can be done. Now it's adjusting to the window size, which is this, but we can put a specific resolution. You can maintain the aspect ratio, but you can make a square, maybe for Instagram. This is a square resolution, and that's also pretty nice because we can tweak the size of the render, and it accepts all type of aspect ratio. Okay. All right, so we have denoising going on, and we have a couple of options. All the major denoiser are here because we do have the optics denoiser, which is GPU based, or the Intel CPU denoiser, which is also one of the best denoisers around. You can tweak the samples of the denoising. Maybe I'm going to change the color of the floor a bit. Okay, also something important. For the environment, you can use a gradient background, which is nice. If you don't have a floor, you can have nice gradient as a background. That's also very interesting. So let's keep tweaking the details here. Depth of field. On the platinum, let's put more times the bump map. Let's put it 10 maybe. Okay, that's nice. And the light, more light, a bit more light. Okay, and the floor, maybe a bit a bluish. A bluish floor somewhere here. Let's have a look at the entire image. Okay. This is pretty nice. And that's exactly what I wanted to show, because Light Tracer is a very interesting option for us. It's made for product render actually, and all that's on their website is accurate about the software, which is also very nice. It works exactly as expected. So when we're ready, we just can wait here. We can see the progress bar up here, and the time it still needs to finish the full render. So let's wait a bit. Okay, almost done, just a matter of seconds. And then we just can save it as PNG, JPEG, or HDR. And well, that's it. And well, this is exactly what we get. This ring is already smoothed out. So I'm getting the quality I want. We have dispersion, nice tweakings on the lights, nice effects that we can make on the material. The roughness on the ground is very simple, but it brings a nice touch to the render. And animations, you can render turntable or swing animations really easily, and that makes Light Tracer a really clever render engine. So I'm glad I was introduced to that software, and I'm also glad that I can introduce that software to all of you. You should give it a try. They also have a 14 days free trial, so you can make your own idea about Light Tracer and see if it's going to serve you well in your workflow. Obviously, before making this video, I tested the software during a bit more than 1 week. So as you can see, Light Tracer brings very stunning renders, very fast. And I was kindly surprised when testing the software for the last week, because that puts Light Tracer in a very nice competitive position. Well, it's not free, so maybe for some of you that can be a problem, but depending on your needs, Light Tracer brings a very nice realism touch and render solution. And it's a very interactive process. It's a really fun process, especially if you want to make animations without having to work too much on the setup. So it's obviously a more modern concept, a more modern software. It works on many platforms. It works on standalone and on the web, and offers all the features that we use in a very simple way. The only features that I would like to see are usage of multiple GPU. That's something lacking now in Light Tracer. Light Tracer only uses one GPU. That's a request. It would be normal, I would say, because nowadays many designers have several GPUs, 2 or 3 or even 4 GPUs. Then the other one, caustics, the metallic caustics, fast caustics, ray tracing should be also here. That would make it compete. Well, that would be the last missing feature against LuxScore, by example. Dispersion is already working in a very interesting way, working very well for the gemstones, fast and easy. So, by example, in this render, the only thing missing is the caustics reflections from the metal on the floor and from the gemstones. That would be the last realistic touch. And well, that's another request. The third request is the bevel effect. Beveling through materials is something very common, has been something requested years ago, and is present in almost every rendering system. So that's nothing new, and that's a feature that we need, because instead of smoothing out the mesh, which is many times a bit tedious, we like to have the bevel effect that smoothed the edges for us in the render. So this mesh I had to prepare in Blender. Here I made the smooth effect before exporting my object, but I had to work on that. And that made me lose time for bad reasons, because the bevel effect is very common in many softwares. So these 3 features that can be made a bit better. With these 3 features, and I hope in the future, because well, Light Tracer, it's at a version 1.8.1, that's quite young, obviously, so there's still some space in areas where it can get better. But for me, for our jewelry field, it's only these 3 aspects: multi-GPU, caustic tracing, and bevel effect. With that, it would compete with some of the best render engines available, and at a very good price and with a very interactive interface, and that would make it really perfect for competing in many other projects. All right, so I hope you like this video. I was very pleased to be introduced to light tracers, so I wanted to share that. Alright, blessed and beloved jewelry community, so give Light Tracer a try. It has many things to offer, and it might serve you well in your renders and rendering animations. It's all for today. More videos coming to the channel very soon. We have a lot of work to do here. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks for all your comments and emails.